just you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar. Welcome to the Scumm Bar Podcast, episode 77, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, books, this is the way, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mattbrush, and with me today is Mando himself.
Anth0z.
Anth0z.
Call me
That's
Anth0z.
the most manly version of Anth0z ever.
Call me Anth0z. This is the way.
Anth0z.
I am the way.
I am the way. That needs to be a t-shirt. Anth0z, I am the way. Oh, I love it.
I'm gonna make it. Yeah, you'll see. Next episode we record, I'm gonna be wearing that shirt.
Anth0z. It's like a silhouette of you. The Anth0z. I am the way.
I'll still have a Baby Yoda with me though.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's a dad shirt, isn't it? You can have like a little baby with you. Like, oh.
And I am the way, dad shirt.
I am the way.
Oh boy.
Anyways, before we get too much into this, thank you guys so much for listening to the Scumm Bar podcast, Scumm Baba. And while you're here, let me just quickly plug our other show, the Marvel Movie Marathon, where Anth0z and I go over the 22 films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you want to listen to any of those, please check those out here on our podcast as well. Anyways, let's move into the day, Anth0z.
The day? Okay.
Into the day.
Into the day.
Anth0z, do you want to just cut right into ye old news? Is that what you're feeling?
I mean, I'd like a pirate joke, but if you don't have one.
I don't think I've got one today.
That's fine.
I don't know. Think of, why did the pirates say yar?
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because he car.
What?
I don't know.
What? Okay, fine. That was a cop-out. Okay, I'm gonna tell a joke.
Okay, go ahead.
From I heard this through the grapevine.
I heard it through the grapevine.
So, what did the ocean say to the other ocean?
Nothing. He just waved.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I got it too. I was so happy.
Nice. Well done, sir.
You
well
too.
Done. That's
you got it
smart.
way quicker than I did.
I don't think I've heard the same joke said the same way, but I've heard the same answer used before.
Okay.
So that's why I knew that. But
it's one of those logical answers.
But it wasn't like the ocean saying to the other ocean. It was like, what did like the water say to it? I don't know.
I see.
I'm not sure, but it wasn't the same setup.
Okay.
Anyways, let's move into ye old news.
Ye old news.
The part of the show where we talk about news.
They're gonna sit in the part of the show where we get older.
We get real old, and the news gets even older. Anyways, let's move on to news. First and foremost, let's get the sadness out of the way, especially for the Canadian treasure. I think he's Canadian.
Is he?
Alex Trebek.
Oh, okay. I was thinking somebody else, but yeah.
I think he was Canadian, wasn't he? It's been a little while now. We're actually a little bit old on this news now, so we're really... This isn't breaking news. This is quite ye old news as its finest. Yeah. But Alex Trebek has passed away, unfortunately, and this is sad for all of us. Collectively in the world, it is sad.
Yeah. How old was he? He was only like 70
He wasn't
right?
super old yet. Like, unfortunately, he died of cancer.
Yeah, that's right. I remember it being some sort of complications, but...
Yeah, I mean, he was battling cancer on and off there for a while, and it seemed like he was going to be doing okay, but unfortunately he's down. Now, he did live a great life, though. He left a huge legacy. The guy was a genius and quick on his feet when it came to a joke or when it came to trying to find logic in something. And I also just really respected him, watching him on TV, the way he carried himself. Mm-hmm. I really looked up to him, so I liked Alex Trebek. He was cool.
Yeah, I liked him. I think he was able to keep like a pretty good energy throughout like the entirety of his career as the same character, or not character, but like, I mean it's him, but playing the same role over and over and over again. I think that could be pretty tiring. So good for him for keeping that alive.
Now, I'm not the first person to mention this, but Sean Connery also passed away. And since we've done one of these, by the way, it's funny, when Alex Trebek passed away, all I can think about was those SNL sketches that were making fun of Alex Trebek.
Oh, yeah.
But then when Sean Connery passed away, I was like, oh my gosh, the other guy who also got made fun of a lot in the SNL sketch with Trebek. I don't think it's super coincidental. It's because of the time period, probably. Both guys, they're not
I don't think
super
it's
similar
coincidental
age,
at all.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
So it's just how it goes. But anyways, it does make me think of that SNL sketch of Sean Connery battling against Trebek all the time. So I really like that. It was funny.
Anal bum cover.
I like Norm Macdonald playing Burton. What was his name?
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Yeah,
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds. Oh, I used to love Norm Macdonald. Was the best Burt Reynolds. He was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh man. Who else was in it? So there's Sean Connery, Burt Reynolds. Sometimes the third character would be random, or like it would kind of change up all the time, right?
Usually changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell though as Alex Trebek was just hilarious.
Wait, was it actually Will Ferrell?
Wasn't it? Yeah, it was Will Ferrell.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I was thinking of Sean Connery. Who plays Sean Connery?
Oh, I think sometimes that was mixed up too. I don't know who was famous for playing him, to be honest. I'm not super up with comedians, but I think it did change a few times on who played Sean Connery.
Who played Sean Connery on SNL?
Who played Sean Connery in James Bond?
Daryl Daryl Hammond.
Daryl Hammond. I don't remember who Daryl Hammond is.
I know him, but
I feel like I should probably know him, but I'm not super up with my SNL actors.
Yeah,
I don't know this guy, unfortunately.
I was more of a Mad TV guy. Was Mad TV was Canadian? Is that why? Was Mad TV
I don't know.
Canadian?
I don't really watch Mad TV.
Show probably not. Maybe it was just like because Mad TV was kind of like the more almost like family friendly version of SNL, I guess.
Right.
Wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Real quick too. There's a TV show coming out called Resident Alien, and they've been filming it at my credit union where I work.
Oh, cool.
And it's weird. He's supposed to be a doctor who's actually an alien disguised as a human being. I don't know much about the show. I don't think it's all that crazy of a show. But the actor, the lead actor, is one of the popular guys. What's his name? Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, cool.
He plays like this alien who's disguised as a doctor it's supposed to be like a comedy TV show, I guess.
I can see him doing that character so well.
Oh yeah.
Or like I don't know the show, but an alien. I can see him playing an alien really well.
He's really good in Arrested Development. He plays a pastor, and he's very funny in that.
I remember him from Dodgeball.
Yeah, Dodgeball, the pirate.
Yeah,
he's good. So, anyways, he plays this plays this character, and the doctor's office itself is actually my credit union where I work. So it takes place in the town I work in, and so they've been doing a lot of filming. They did a bunch of filming last year and this year, and there was a trailer that recently announced, and I think the show is coming out soon. So I'll make sure to post it later when it comes out, and I'll put a trailer up on our Twitter and whatnot. But I'm just excited about it. It's gonna be fun to see my credit union used. It was also used in the Sonic movie as well, which is kind of funny.
Did you watch the movie?
I haven't seen the Sonic movie yet, so I don't know where to point it out.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyways, that's that.
Okay.
Moving on.
All right. Cool. What do I have? I have some newses.
Give me some newses.
Let's see. Okay, so I didn't track past. I mean, we're gonna be talking about this later on, but I'll just mention it now that Dave Filoni, I believe he directed episode 2 of The Mandalorian. So I don't know if he did 3 and 4. Oh no, wait, did he direct it?
I think it was Favreau.
Oh no, sorry, he didn't direct it. No, but he's supposed to direct one or a couple of the episodes.
Yeah, he did the season finale, I think, to season 1, and I think he's probably going to do the season finale to season 2 as well.
Oh, I see. Okay, people are speculating he's going to do.
I believe he helps write with Favreau for all the episodes.
Okay, cool. So I have some other random. I don't know why this came up on my feed, but it did. I'm going to link it to you. So apparently. Okay, have you heard of the previous like the world plays Pokemon or whatever it's called?
No, what is that? Oh, so, you mean Twitch plays Pokemon?
Oh, sorry, I guess yeah, that must be what it is. Twitch plays Pokemon. Yeah. So it's like
that was amazing. I love Twitch plays Pokemon. That was a huge phenomenon. I was so happy when it was going on.
Yeah, and it's really just like everybody who is typing, who is like posting or commenting or whatever, right? Like that becomes the action that the player plays.
Yeah, somebody made an action script so that it would affect the emulator on screen. So everything in the Twitch chat would affect the emulator and move and press the buttons on the emulator. Then he put on Pokemon on the emulator and streamed it on Twitch. So then people who would write into the chat were then effectively playing the game. But then it just created this whole thing. I could talk about this for hours, but it created a whole thing of anarchy versus democracy and just should people be able to vote on the next button choices that are going to happen based on the people that are in the chat room, or should people go into anarchy where it just takes in all the inputs as it goes, because they were trying to beat the game of Pokemon. It's very hard to beat it when everyone's trying to do something else, right? So
yeah, Okay, so I don't know. I can't remember which version of Pokemon this is. Might be like Ruby or something. But anyway, it's so with a similar idea, this person transposed kind of like this grid, and they put it behind. I'm gonna link you. They put it behind a fish bowl or something. And so as the fish swims over like different parts of the grid that is superimposed over it, like so the grid shows.
Oh, is the fish playing Pokemon?
It's fish playing Pokemon. Yeah.
No way.
So there's like the letter like A, B for like like the Game Boy buttons, and there's up, down, left, right. I think that's all there's. So it's superimposed over a grid of like 5x5.
Is this live? This is happening right now?
No. This is not live. It's finished.
Oh.
Like it beat Pokemon apparently. I don't know
wish
how
someone
long it was
told
going
me.
on for, but I wanted to save it for the podcast. I think by the time I heard about it, it was already over.
No way,
so
man.
apparently the fish actually beat the game.
Well, okay, so that's the thing. That's what people don't really realize about Pokemon is beatable if you mashed buttons throughout the entire session of Pokemon. It is beatable. And the reason why is because if you die in Pokemon, your experience carries over. So you can effectively beat the game by just constantly moving. So you just go back to your last save point and your experience carries over and you can keep playing forever. That's why Pokemon is secretly the easiest RPG ever. Because as long as you're persistence in time, you can just keep playing. And a lot of kids have the time, right? So anyways, So when it came to Twitch Plays Pokemon, it actually wasn't that hard of a thing when you had all these crazy things scrolling up of A, B, 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 up, down, left, right. I think it just did the Konami code. Then
you totally did.
Then you would you'd effectively
you did like you did the first half second and then the second half first.
Right. But you would effectively you would beat the game. But the thing that made Twitch Plays Pokemon so much better is that they had a plan in mind. As the game played itself out, they started to have a plan of things they wanted to do. So maybe they wanted to go to the one building where they could catch a legendary Pokemon, and that's something that does require logic. It does require somebody actually thinking and planning something out to then have the plan come out and happen. And it does. It worked. They were able to make this plan come into play. But this is so different because it's a fish randomizing it, which is just crazy. It's also totally possible, and I love it. Is it saying that the fish beat the game in 11 hours?
No. So this clip,
okay,
I don't know.
I was gonna say because there's no way. There's no way.
Absolutely no way. So this
Twitch
clip,
Plays Pokemon took like a month, I think.
Yeah, this one must have taken like several months, I think. I don't know when it started. It's in Japanese, so I can't actually.
Oh, I see it here. Time 31,000 hours. I see. It's on the 31,000th hour, so yeah.
31.
That's pretty brutal.
Okay, how many days is 31,000 hours? That's 1,291 days.
I don't think that's actually how long then. It does say time though. Oh, that's probably in-game time. Wait, that still doesn't make sense.
But still, well, okay. Well, either way, so how many month is 1,291 days? It is 42 months.
I don't think so. I
guess that could be.
It could be, but I don't think so.
Okay, how much faster is Pokemon time than real time? Because I'm sure it goes. Yes, but one is still faster. Okay, I don't know if I'm able to figure this out. Anyway, it happened. Yeah. I think you could probably dig deep and find clips of maybe the whole process. Maybe not, but yeah.
I'm one of those people that would have watched that live. I would have watched that. Not like constantly, obviously.
No,
but you have it on the background. It's something fun,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
and that's what was fun about Twitch Plays Pokemon. There's some great documentaries of that on YouTube you can check out that people made of the Twitch Plays Pokemon thing. If you're at all interested, there's like hour-long videos of these people that deep dive exactly what happened, and it's so interesting. I recommend you get some food, get some dinner, and watch an hour-long video on Twitch Plays Pokemon because I swear it's so much more than just a video about Pokemon or Twitch. It's more about like psychology. It's really cool.
Yeah, and actually, so the thing that you mentioned about like having it on the background, I kind of feel like it's similar to Christmas time when you have
the Yule log.
The Yule log, right? And then like every once in a while, like you see the hand come in and poke the logs, and it was like, they're here.
We do that at my work. We throw the Yule log on. Yeah, it's so awesome. But it's just a passive thing to have on the background. But that's what I love is having a live passive thing on the background because then you don't know what to expect. And it's very fun. Anyways, cool. I didn't know that was a thing, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Other gamer related stuff. So the PS5 was launched. So
and the Xbox Series X.
And the X both. And the S.
There's two, the next gen consoles have launched. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't remember what the Xbox day was. I feel like it was the day before. like November 11th, and then
I think it was a Tuesday and a Thursday for them. So
so it might have been the 10th, and then the Thursday was because November 12th was when the
I think it was 10th and 12th for them respectively for Xbox and PlayStation.
So the 12th, the PS5 came out. I didn't really hear much about the Xbox, other than like the usual, websites kind of going down and people aren't able to get stuff. So, but I did pay attention to PS5 because I did want to try to get one if I could get one through Shoppers Drug Mart on like with a promo or something,
right? Which
was pretty much next to impossible.
Yeah.
It was just the usual kind of gong show where, well, I'll skip to like just kind of more like nitty gritty stuff, but like I heard about somebody calling a local Shoppers Drug Mart and even complaining to head office about stock or something like that.
Wow.
And okay, so I saw this on the news that somebody went to go sell their PS5 to somebody. So they met up with somebody out in like a parking lot, and they like a camera, maybe it was like a dash cam, caught like the interaction. So one guy met up with 3 other guys apparently, and so the one guy was the one who was selling it. And then in the middle of the transaction, so I think one of the guys who was going to, like, who was the buyer, was holding it. And then another guy next to him takes out spray, like some sort of pepper spray or like bear mace, and starts spraying the seller. And so, like, the point is, like, they want to try to steal the PS5. But then the guy who gets sprayed is kind of like, he's instinctively, or I guess reactive enough to kind of fend them off and keep the PS5.
Wow.
Yeah. So
crazy.
I can't believe that this kind of thing is actually, I don't know where it took place.
Pretty good advertisement for PlayStation 5 though.
Well, I guess
people want this thing apparently.
Yeah. It was on, I think it's CBC, so Canadian channels, right? Or was it CTV?
It seems brutal, but I mean, people do stupid things like that all the time for stuff. It's just there's just stupid people out there, and crime is crime, right? It's annoying. It just happens. True. But it sucks that like places like Shoppers, like I used to work at EB Games all the time, so I've gone through a few console launches, PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, and that's not true. I didn't go through PlayStation 3, but I went through the Vita and the PlayStation 4, and and Xbox and all those respectively with those years. But it sucks when a place like Shoppers or Walmart gets in with these launches, and then all this burden comes onto those stores. What happens in the parking lot, and EB Games as well for that matter, because like you're just trying to sell a product at the end of the day. I have to say, people are going to hate this response, but the companies don't care about scalpers. Like nobody cares about scalpers except for you, the consumer. You're the only one reading those articles about scalpers going like, oh, that sucks, and they're writing the articles knowing that you're going, oh, that sucks. But like all these other businesses, they don't care. They get their product in, it's a number, it's a SKU, they sold all their SKUs, happy day. That's all they care about. But when there's a fight in the parking lot, all they're thinking about is the lawsuit on their hands, and they're worried about it. So it is unfortunate that this kind of stuff happens on midnight releases. It happened to me at Grand Theft Auto 5. There's a massive fight that broke out in the EB Games I was working at.
Really?
And it's like it sucks because you become liable for that, and I feel for all the employees there that become liable for this kind of stuff and or have to deal with the repercussions of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When you've got a kid making $15 an hour who's now trying to keep a store in line when there's like a massive crowd outside trying to buy some kind of new thing, I don't know. I just feel for them. But it also sucks that there's also this kind of environment where there's these buyers, these sellers, and people trying to steal things. Obviously that sucks too, but that kind of stuff just happens regardless if it's PlayStation 5 or drugs on the street. It happens all the time. So that just kind of sucks too.
Yeah.
But this whole launch thing just reminded me of that. I hate the people that have to deal with this kind of stuff. They're not there to do that. They're there to sell a product, and they successfully have sold all the products now. So
yeah. So there's this one little bit that I wanted to mention too, that apparently, I don't know where this launch took place, but there's this guy who was first in line for the PS4, first in line for the PS4 Pro, and apparently was first in line for the PS5.
Oh, I think I remember watching a video on that guy, actually. Is it in Japan?
I don't know. This guy, he's got a Chinese name. I feel like this took place in the US somewhere.
Interesting. Okay.
But anyway, well, this guy, so his name is Joey Chu.
Okay, yeah. I used to listen to the I can't remember what those guys are called now. Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller and all of them, and they used to talk about this guy. I think they actually did an interview with him one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was first in line for all 3 of them, and so including the PS5 now. And they actually made like a little plaque for him that says, it says, "Patience is a virtue. This is for you. Play has no limits." And it's kind of like a PS5 custom kind of plaque
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
kind
good for them.
of random news, but kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Being that guy, and it looks like the box he has was actually signed by the guys too.
Probably Shuhei.
Yeah, Shuhei
Yoshida.
Yoshida, and who else? I don't know who else.
There's the designer of the PlayStation 5 probably as well, the architect of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, probably.
I can't remember that guy's name. I don't actually know if he worked on it this year, actually. I know he worked on the PlayStation 4, but I can't remember if he worked on it this year. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Jack Tretton? No.
Oh, Jack Tretton. He's the president.
And then Andrew Andrew House, the president of Sony Computer Entertainment.
Oh yeah, Jack Tretton is the old one, isn't it? Andrew House is the old one?
He is Sony Computer Entertainment's US boss? I don't know how this all works, but...
Oh, I don't remember. Andrew House is the big head honcho right now, though.
Okay. Anyway, so...
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I don't know much about the launch, to be honest. I've kind of gone in a little blind. I haven't looked at the games, really, and I haven't really seen the launch. I just watched one... Penguin Zero on YouTube, one of the bigger YouTuber guys right now, Charlie, and I watched him do an unboxing for the Xbox and for the PlayStation. Yeah. And his take was pretty much like most people's. You know, he thought the Xbox looked actually kind of slick, even though it was just a cube or a rectangle.
Yeah.
And then he thought the PlayStation was actually really awesome looking, even though it was kind of curvy and whatnot, but it's gigantic.
Yeah,
it is huge, but he loved it. And I feel like I'd have a similar reaction to him, like with a behemoth like statue on my desk. I think I'd actually be really proud of it.
Yeah, that's true.
But when it came down to the games, you know, I don't even really remember what he played, but it just came down to the fact that there's not enough information yet for us to really know anything. Like, he played, I think, Assassin's Creed on Xbox, and then
Valhalla,
he played, Valhalla, and then he played Demon's Souls on PlayStation. And both of them were kind of like, okay, Assassin's Creed is the same thing you've played on many Assassin's Creeds before, so there's not much new that you're pulling from.
Okay.
And then Demon's Souls was a remake, and it's like, okay, again, so you're playing a game that's from another game, so you're kind of just like playing, a kind of a remake. Even Miles Morales, which is the top-selling game on PlayStation 5, was kind of like a expansion to a game that you've already played. So there's not much new you're seeing.
Yeah.
With that being said, the coolest thing I saw, and the thing that would actually draw me most, and I might buy this before I buy the PlayStation 5, if I ever buy the PlayStation 5, is the PlayStation 5 controller. It sounds amazing. It sounds so good. Like, they've got the haptic feedback thing going on, they got the triggers and all that, but they got the pulses in the triggers, and then they've got like the haptic charges happening on the analog sticks as well, which I didn't know, and on the sides of the controllers as well. So it's like, it's like surround haptics happening everywhere.
Cool.
And apparently it's like, you know, to the moment where when he's playing Demon Souls, as his character's going, if an arrow shoots by him and it just misses him, you can feel it with the vibration of the controller. It does like a little vibration to let you know, but like on the side of where he was, right?
Yeah,
so you feel that. And same with like drawing the bow with the haptics on the triggers. As you have the triggers themselves are pulsing based on how the bow is going. Like, little things just keep you intrigued. And what that gets me going is, as a developer, you know, like, I want to get that and now start working with that in code to see what you can do in a game with just haptic feedback in that sense. Yeah. So it excites me because it's more things for developers to work with than just a regular controller.
Because that's kind of like on the verge of like 4D technology. Anyway,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's very cool. I remember even something as simple as the light bar on the PlayStation 4, the DualShock 4, that excited me enough that developers could change that color at will whenever they wanted to. And I was like, that's such a cool thing that now developers can integrate that color into their game however they want to integrate it. Yeah. And it was always a very cool thing for me. But it seems like they've taken that, and also the touchpad on the PlayStation 4, and they ran with that, and they've added that into the PlayStation 5 now, and been like, let's add more things. Developers can just do what they want. And I don't know, it's very, very fun. Yeah. So I don't know much more than those things, but that's kind of my comments and thoughts on the PlayStation 5 Xbox for this moment.
Okay, cool. Well, I think as time goes on, we'll probably hear some more because it is still fairly new.
Once we get some real, in my opinion at least, real launch titles out for these consoles. Yeah,
I think something like, because like for PS5, I can't remember if it's going to be exclusive to PS. I think it is, but Horizon Forbidden West.
Like that one's apparently dual launch. It's PlayStation 4 and 5, interestingly enough.
Oh, okay.
Ratchet and Clank, I think, is one of the only confirmed ones. I could be wrong here, but I think Ratchet and Clank's the only confirmed one that is PlayStation 5 only.
Okay.
Yeah. So Xbox is kind of suffering right now from the same kind of thing. Apparently, it's the same architecture to Xbox One. So the insides of it, like, all look the same.
Internal specs.
Yeah, and people are apparently a little disappointed with that. I could be wrong, though. I mean, I'm sure if you're an Xbox fan, you're used to it already, so maybe you enjoy it and like it, and that's totally fine. Yeah. But I did, at least from the one YouTuber I watched talking about this, he was a little disappointed because he didn't like the Xbox architecture, and then it's the same now on the new one. So it's like having Windows 10 on two different new consoles. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, that maybe goes to show you don't always have to upgrade your console.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Depends.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the type of gamer you are, right? Like,
For sure.
if you're always going to be playing the games that are kind of require like the latest hardware upgrades, then
PC.
sure, then you can kind of justify it. But like if you're playing stuff like I feel like Spider-Man, it's not like a very graphically heavy kind of game. Not something that requires something that is so much more upgraded from the PS4, for example. Like, I don't think you necessarily.
It looks really good. Like Spider-Man
does
looks
look
really
really
good, but
Yeah.
I'll agree that I think I've watched one of the comparison videos of 4 to 5, PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, and it's almost a joke. Like it's like how do you even notice? You know, there's a Donkey video on this recently where Video Game Donkey was talking about the jump from PlayStation 4 to 5, and he splits in the middle. And he says on the left I'm showing you a PlayStation 4 game, and on the right I'm showing you a PlayStation 5, and it's a split screen of the same game, and it's Witcher, and he's like doing 4K versus 1080p.
Yeah.
And then he's like, can you see the difference? He's like, because it's pretty hard for me to see this difference. And you're staring at it. And he's like, all right. He's like, do you see the difference? And he's like, because this is actually the same image. And he takes out the split, and it's actually just one 1080p image. It's not even like a 4K split. And you're like, oh my god. And it's like hard to even know because again, like this whole 4K craze, it's really hard to tell. So when they're saying this is the jump from 4 to 5 and they're showing graphics, I keep saying this, but the graphics is probably the worst thing to show off when you're trying to show the new consoles because I think the graphics are already great on 4. So when you're looking at them on 5, you're not going to see a crazy difference. The thing to show off would be how much can you show on the screen at once, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah. Like, you need something that can... it's about, like, what you're loading onto the hardware. Like, if it's something that, like, takes a lot of load, then, yeah, that's going to be something that is probably going to be much more noticeable visually than something else. So, yeah.
Okay.
Got any more news?
Nothing too much, nothing all that big. I just wanted to quickly move on to a movie trailer I recently saw for a Michael Bay film called Songbird. I don't know much about it. I don't know much about it, but it's based on COVID. And it's kind of like a movie.
Yeah, right.
It actually looked kind of cool. And like normally I would hate this kind of stuff. I don't know why, but anything like kind of movie like this that I feel like was trying to push a narrative like that, I'd kind of get mad about. But honestly, like this looked like it's just kind of like a thriller based on what we're used to. Yeah. Like Michael Bill, Michael Bay making like an Armageddon style film again, like is just fun for me. So I'm excited to see this kind of like disaster flick, I guess, but in the case of COVID. And I did like that one film. I think it was called Pandemic, or it might have been called.
That was the one that was like hitting like first place on Netflix during the
with Matt Damon. I saw that in theaters with my fiance. We were really into that movie, and I loved that movie. And then I know it got crazy because of COVID, but I can see the appeal because here's this thriller, and I'm kind of like, I'd watch that. I think it's kind of cool looking. So, anyways, just wanted to say I saw the trailer to that, and I thought that looked really cool.
Yeah, I'm interested too. So I'm actually thinking about it now that they're gonna be portraying, like not just what we're going through now, but potentials of what could happen, but like maybe extreme potentials like for the future of what happens if we go one route versus another. Because I think in this one they say that like COVID evolves and it becomes COVID-23.
Yeah, COVID-23 starts attacking the brain, it sounded like.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of developments in that kind of sense. But what I'm thinking about now is that the way that they're going to portray it, like we don't know if they're going to be showing all the different kind of restrictions that have gone on around the whole world, but if they don't, it's going to be probably likely strictly what's happening in the States, or like some sort of specific or some specific few areas in the States. So in terms of like how much that they're going to do the lockdown, how much people actually have to wear masks, and how much distance they have to be, or how many people can be in like a social gathering, because like at least in Canada, like every province kind of has like a different regulation on how that's done, right? Like and I suspect it's going to be pretty similar with the States, that every state has a different method of how they want to approach it, right? So the thing is, this kind of movie, like whether or not it's intended for like a global audience, that I find that in terms of being able to relate to it just because we're going through it, maybe as like people who are not living in the States, we might not be able to connect as much just because of whatever strictly the regulations are happening in this movie,
right? Being
that they could be mirrored or mirroring what's happening in the States as opposed to anywhere else. So sorry, that's a long way of saying that like what we might be looking at is just how it is in the States and nowhere else, and so which could kind of like change how we're able to like actually consume the movie, like how we perceive, like, oh, is this relatable? Is this what happened? Like,
right.
Not to me, but I guess it could have happened somewhere else, sort of thing.
Kind of like The Purge almost, which is funny because it's one of the Purge creators that's helping out with this film too.
Oh, okay. I
Like
didn't actually watch any of
the
Purge
Purge doesn't like affect me as much because I do feel like it's hitting the States, not me. Even though it could easily hit Canada, and let's be honest, if the States got hit, Canada be hit as well. But
yeah, probably.
but yeah, so I think it's like a cognitive dissonance almost. So it takes away any kind of fear. It makes it more just illusion, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I just want to say here, if you have news, more news, we can go into it. But last thing I want to say is there's a new platform out there, social media platform called Parler. I was checking it out. It's like a another version of Twitter, I guess. And it's with all the stuff going on recently with Twitter and I don't know if you've seen that Twitter's been with the government lately. There's been a lot of like pressing questions to Twitter. Are you a news site or are you just kind of a free social media site that people can post whatever they want?
Okay.
And they, Twitter's been very, with Jack Dorsey, he's been really, I don't know, he's not giving a direct answer, let's say. So if he edits what people are saying, that makes them technically a news site. If he lets it be free, then that makes them a social media site so people can post whatever they want. But when they edit, then technically they are news. If people are getting their news from Twitter and Twitter's editing certain things so that they're only getting specific news, that's the exact same as a news site. And so there are government restrictions in place for news sites, and that's why he doesn't want to answer. It's not necessarily a political thing. It's more just the fact that he doesn't want to be put in a box. He wants Twitter to remain the way they want to keep it. But at the same time, he also feels a responsibility to edit certain posts and not edit other posts, right? So it's an interesting argument. It's more of like an ethics argument, I guess, than it is anything else. So anyway, so Parler was created as a new platform where it is more to be independent and free from the idea of being edited posts. So you're able to post whatever you would like on this. So I use it personally as a new kind of Twitter, and I'm using Twitter less. And I use Twitter mostly just for the Scumbar podcast these days. Okay. But Parler is where I like to actually do my new kind of tweets, if you will. It's the new kind of Twitter social media. So just so you know, we have Scumbar podcast now available on Parler. It's very new. I just created it today. So it's we're going to start posting episodes on there from now on as well. So if anybody here knows about Parler or is interested in this whole new thing with Parler, we are also going to make our episodes available to people there. We are not necessarily a political podcast in any way, shape, or form. We are just here to make content for everybody to listen to. So,
including ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I listen to our podcast probably 3 times every episode because the edit and then like the proofing and then just one more time when I'm after it's uploaded. So
yeah, right. Yeah, I listen to it as we do it, and then I listen to it. Yeah, usually like sometimes I'll get to it like a second time around.
Oh yeah.
And then I still like, oh, it's my voice. I just don't like my voice.
I know it does that affect you. Yeah. All right, so that's it for my news. If you have anything you want to say.
Nope. I'm out of news.
All right, so let's get into our topic of the day.
Cool.
What our topic is actually just going to be a beginning impressions for The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Where we're at right now is 4 episodes in, which I would say is the halfway point. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 8 episodes this season, like it was last season.
Mm-hmm. Was it only 8?
I think so. See, last season was 8 episodes, so I'm sure this one's 8 as well. Although it might be longer, but for now we're going to call this the first half.
Okay.
So it seems like we got the first 4 down, and if we're halfway through the season already, then we should have a pretty good idea of where the show is going. And I just want to kind of do a litmus test. How are you feeling about the show? What are some things you thought were awesome about it? What are some things you're maybe hoping for? And what were you disappointed with?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm so looking forward to seeing more. I got really excited when we saw Bo-Katan and a couple of the other Mandalorians.
I didn't even realize we were actually seeing this character. Like, it took me a little bit. I recognized the armor right away, but I was like, okay, I know that design. Mm-hmm. But then when she took off the helmet, I was like, I know that face.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird. And I was like, is this Clone Wars? And I had to search it up because I didn't know the name. So I had to search it up and was like, it is! I was like, holy smokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It blew me away.
And then, and she, I can't remember, did she actually mention Ahsoka? Or she did mention...
She says she knows a Jedi.
A Jedi.
She does not say Ahsoka. And that's my one question is, where is Ahsoka? Give me Ahsoka. Where is she?
I feel like that's coming up really soon then, because
where are the drugs?
I feel like if Bo-Katan knows any Jedi at this point, Jediata, it should be Ahsoka. I think.
Yeah, I don't know any others that would be living.
The other ones, living, exactly. That's the thing. The other ones that we would have seen from Clone Wars are Yeah, like they would be technically gone, potentially.
And spoiler for Clone Wars 2, but Ahsoka's not technically a Jedi anymore either. So
that's right.
She did leave the Jedi Order, so she has the Force, but she's not necessarily a Jedi, unless something has changed and she's gone back to being a Jedi. But not as far as I know.
No, I don't think she ever, like in canon. I'm not sure if she ever goes back to the Jedi Order, but also
they might
like
refer to her as a Jedi. I guess I don't know.
I think it's just easier. Otherwise, you have to say, "Oh, I know a person who used to be a Jedi."
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like that's so long.
It's also so specific that she's definitely talking about Ahsoka.
yeah, exactly. So this kind of keeps some of the mystery in there.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's gonna be a lot of people who don't know who Ahsoka is because not everybody who watches The Mandalorian would have watched the Clone Wars or
so you have to reintroduce her in a way that we recognize her.
Yeah. Oh wait, sorry, I just mixed things up, but I said that there aren't any Jedi that are still around from Clone Wars, but in this timeline there should be, right?
Who'd be left?
Oh wait, you're right.
No, most people are dead. The only ones left would be Luke.
That's right.
Leia,
and Luke, and they weren't. I think they were not even talked about at all.
At this moment in time, Luke and Leia, I would assume, are training, or possibly already Luke's in exile and Leia's like off, obscured, part of the Resistance. I guess I don't really know.
Yeah,
but
then I was also thinking about, because Rebels, I believe Rebels takes place shortly after Clone Wars, and Rebels also takes place before Episode 7. Before The Force Awakens, if I'm getting it correctly. Yeah. And I think The Mandalorian also takes place after Rebels. So I was just trying to think
Mandalorian is definitely before 7 and definitely after 6, but we don't know exactly where in that timeline.
Yeah.
Like, is it closer to 7?
Actually, I think there is a timeline that might state.
If it is, it makes me wonder how long Ahsoka can age, because I feel like she'd have to be quite old.
Yeah,
I'm much older than Luke, and Luke is going to be old at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Or is Luke middle-aged at this moment? I don't really know.
What is this? Okay, I'm looking up timelines, which might take some time. So how about you go into some of your thoughts so far?
Okay, so my first and foremost is, where the heck is Ahsoka? Every single episode, I'm like, is she gonna appear this episode? Is this the one? And then they excite me, and then she's gone.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian is doing a lot of what it did last season for me, where it's every episode is a side mission in a video game. Every episode is like, you walk into the town and you see the guy with the question mark above his head, and you talk to him, and he's suddenly like, did you know there's a creature, and the creature is destroying the town, and can you please help us? And you're like, sure, I'll accept this and get some gold. And so it did a lot of that in season 1. And I think I was disappointed by that in season 1, but now that they've sold me on this concept, it's working a lot better in season 2, I think. And I'm enjoying season 2 more than I enjoyed season 1. I don't think season 1 was bad, but it's just that now I know what to expect, I guess. So I was talking to my fiance about this. She is enjoying the show, but she's saying that she's not caring much about the people. Like, she watches the show, and she's enjoying each episode, and she's excited to watch more, but she's not picking up stuff. She's not remembering stuff from one episode to the next, and we binged it, so she's not seeing how it plays in a bigger picture, and she doesn't care about the character. She thinks Baby Yoda's cute, but she doesn't think Baby Yoda's gonna die. She doesn't think Mando's gonna die. She doesn't really care about any of the other characters, and she doesn't, there's not much she's attaching to. And I don't think it's that harsh of a critic, because I kind of agree. A lot of the characters are a little bit like surface level. But that being said, I'll make that critique that a lot of the characters are surface level. Like, I don't necessarily have as much of a care for Mando or all these characters as much as I do for, like, let's say Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. But what I will say is that without Mandalorian, there's a lot we don't know in Star Wars. Without Mandalorian, Star Wars is just like very family-driven stories, where it's just about like the Luke Skywalker and how he's going through his storyline, right? But with Mandalorian, it's padding out the lore to Star Wars in such a way where I'm starting to understand Star Wars like I never did before.
Oh, okay.
For example, just a brief example here, but they mentioned in the last episode we watched, episode 4, they talk about core planets. One of the Rebel Alliance guys, he talks about core planets. Oh, the inner core planets. And then they talk about the outer rim and the outer core.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, interesting. I've never thought about the fact that there is an inner core, an outer rim, and then beyond, right?
Yeah.
And I started to realize, is like, after Mandalorian, not only myself, but I feel like other people might actually be able to draw a map in Star Wars, like an actual like galaxy map. And I was like, and I've never, just watching the movies, there's no way you could ever get me to draw any kind of map or understand the geography to Star Wars, right? But very Game of Thrones like, Mandalorian has been able to come in and tell me more about all the different races, all the different kinds of like worlds that are out there. So like a D&D game, it world builds like crazy, and I'm starting to understand everything more, and I really, really appreciate that. So my fiance's not getting any of that because she's not able to connect it to the movies very well.
Yeah.
And she admits that. But for myself, I'm picking up things where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember Luke talking about like in like episode 4, he talks about like a battle with his father in the Outer Rim. You know, it's just like a throwaway line. But here we are now in The Mandalorian talking about the Outer Rim being like the outer outskirts of where the Rebel Alliance fighters are able to go. And I'm suddenly like, oh, okay, I can see this like circular like galactic map now, almost like a little bit better than I did before. This is why we might see Tatooine so much, because maybe Tatooine's one of the pivotal planets in the core, the inner core, right? A core planet.
In the core system. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So and another thing too is I'm starting to realize much more. People used to say Star Trek was science fiction, and then Star Wars is science fantasy. And I'm starting to really get that. It's like Star Wars is looking like Game of Thrones to me. There's no difference from watching the Mando walk into like a bar, and there's like some weird type of drink he drinks and a weird type of currency. There's no difference between that and Game of Thrones when he walks into a bar and a character buys something with a different type of currency and has a different type of name for a drink. It's all just fantasy. It's so I'm starting to understand that, while Star Trek was trying to be science fiction, where it's trying to use realism to create what could be a version of going to space and traveling and meeting intergalactic space beings and such. So I'm starting to understand that better with Mandalorian.
I guess so. I mean, like, I only watched I watched a lot of the Star Trek shows when I was younger. So like Deep Space Nine, maybe a little bit of Voyager, The Next Generation, like that kind of stuff. And I watched the original movies too, with the one that actually had like Kirk and Spock, for example.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't watch. But I like that's So maybe I watched enough of it to be able to kind of compare why one might be more of science fiction and one of science fantasy. Like when it comes to Star Trek, like their purpose, from what I example, was to explore the galaxy, was to actually like seek out and find more answers, which is kind of relatable to what our scientists are actually doing on our Earth right now, right? Like they're still trying to find ways that we can explore more and understand more about what we don't know.
Whereas but they won't say like, 47 parsecs in a
exactly.
You know, they'll make a real unit of measure, and they'll talk about a tractor beam, but they might talk about the actual like construction of the tractor beam or how it works, right?
Yeah.
And based on some sort of small thing that actually is real, so that we can kind of logic our way through it as well.
Yeah, but I think in Star Trek they do reference, or sorry, they do kind of like have their own universe and stuff that they created, because there's Borgs, there's Klingons, there's things that we don't actually have like on our planet, right?
Definitely.
And I think with that comes their own different cultures. So I think that those have just become a part of, or they have always been a part of Star Trek, but not to the extent that the focus is supposed to be about them specifically, but the focus, or I guess the fundamental part of what the crew is doing on like on the ships, on the starships, is that they're trying to explore and learn.
I'd argue the different species in Star Trek are trying to be an allegory to the species on Earth, different races on Earth. Like traveling on a ship to meet like an Indian race, for example, like Christopher Columbus meeting the First Nations for the first time and all that. And while Star Wars, I don't think is trying to make any of those kinds of analogies. Again, I think Star Wars is trying to be more like Lord of the Rings. And I'm starting to see that now with Mandalorian, and I never saw that with the movies. People have been saying this for years, like since the first movies have ever come out. I just have never actually seen it until now with Mandalorian. I get it. You know, when they're fighting a dragon in the desert, and I'm like, oh, I get it. They're slaying a dragon in a cave, right? Like this is the age-old story with Lancelot. Like they're going off to go and slay the dragon, and but it's just in Star Wars fashion.
I just thought of something. That dragon was a crate dragon, right?
Yeah, crate dragon. Yep. Sounds like a D&D thing, right? Like it comes right out of like D&D. It's crazy. Like I love it though.
But does that mean they're from the planet Crate? Like there was a Crate planet in Star Wars in the 8th one, like basically the Battle of Hoth planet.
You might be right. I'm not sure.
Wasn't it? I swear it was Crate.
You're probably right, because almost everything in this show is pulling from something, right? So
Yeah. What was the Last Jedi? Last Jedi Crate? Oh no, it's a different spelling though. It's Crait. Okay, so different spelling. Sorry. Because then I was thinking like, oh, that would be kind of cool where like that planet that they're on is like covered with what did they say? It's sulfur or some sort of like salt or something, like all that white stuff.
Oh yeah. Here he goes. It's salt.
yeah. And but it'd be cool if like that's the planet that like it started off where like where the Crate dragon I guess originated from, and then all of a sudden it became this planet that's covered in salt. But anyway,
it's good to know. There. Actually, I'm just reading it on Wikipedia. And apparently, in episode 4, Luke is asking why the Sand People left after Obi-Wan Kenobi did that weird noise. He goes, "Ooh!" Makes all those weird noises. He apparently says, "I imitated the hunting cry of a Crate dragon. Their imaginations did the rest, and they took to their heels." So apparently, he actually name dropped a Crate dragon in that first episode there, first movie.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's nice that they're actually kind of going back and referencing things that have already been like they're already canon. They're not just like creating brand new stuff.
Yeah,
which kind of makes sense because like Mandalorian takes place in the middle. Okay, so I did look up the timeline. So it takes place just after, well, in between Return of the Jedi and Star Wars Resistance. I guess that's a video game, or maybe some other series. But yeah, so after Episode 6, before Episode 7, which means it also takes place after. Like Clone Wars and Rebels. So Rebels takes place kind of in between, like during and towards the beginning of Star Wars: A New Hope. So basically Episode 4. So this would be like way after, which means like the Mandalorian. If Ahsoka is there, she's been here. She's been around since Episode 2.
She's like at least a little bit younger than Anakin's dad, right? She's a little bit younger than Anakin's dad, and then Anakin. I'm sorry, than Luke Skywalker's dad. I mean, she's a little bit younger than Luke Skywalker's dad, Anakin. And so Luke has now aged up to what I would say is like, probably in his late 20s in Return of the Jedi. And then this is now after Return of the Jedi and before he's an old man. So it's somewhere in that time. So Luke's either middle-aged or an old man at this point, meaning Ahsoka has to be either middle-aged plus like 10, 20 years, or an old woman. But her race might age differently. I have no idea. Yeah,
that's the next thing I was going to mention was because Baby Yoda, I can't remember if they mentioned it in the show, but I heard it in a
300
podcast.
years or whatever?
Well, I heard that Baby Yoda is like 50.
Oh, maybe he is. I don't know. I thought he was like 300 years old.
I mean, well, it could be. I don't know, like how, like if there's some sort of translation, kind of like human to dog years. But,
or maybe Yoda was 300 years or 350 years.
Yoda probably was actually 3. Yeah, but like Baby Yoda is 50. So knowing that the Yoda that we knew before this was 300 something years old, that means technically in that age range, Baby Yoda. Or sorry, no, what was? I think so it was from the Weekly Planet. And he was trying to point out that like basically whatever age Yoda was. Compared to the age range or the age that Baby Yoda is now at 50, whatever Yoda's actual age was, it's almost like he's comparable to a teenager, which is like such an odd thing to think about, right? In terms of like their whole lifespan, I think he's trying to say that Yoda was like a teenager kind of age range.
Weird.
So so then I want to bring it back to Ahsoka, which means like potentially any other species that we're just not familiar with could experience similar kind of age lengthenings or discrepancies, or it differs from human aging, right? So I mean, like Rosario Dawson is not like a very old person. No. She's not an old person, right? So if she's going to be portrayed as like the age range that she is in real life, then I can't imagine that that Ahsoka's culture or like breed tends to age that quickly either. So she probably is sort of like a Yoda-esque kind of aging kind of thing. Yeah, maybe.
I would assume so as well. I think so, but
who knows?
I don't know what they're gonna do with it. But I will tell you one thing though. One thing that's really exciting me watching The Mandalorian and watching these episodes play out is that I have a feeling, I don't know if it's going to go this way, but the potential is here. And they might be able to fix how the last sequel trilogy happened, I think. And here's my thoughts, just laying it out here. Darth Maul has now been considered as one of the coolest villains, right? And it sounds like the Clone War, or it seems as if the Clone Wars and Dave Filoni have kind of like ripped Darth Maul back up into existence and made him a very strong villain that we can enjoy. I think the movies tried to incorporate Darth Maul a little bit. We saw it with the Han Solo film when they tried to bring him into it. And the fans weren't really having it. It was like kind of keep Darth Maul out of our movies kind of thing. But I think he could be used really well, but he needs episodes. He doesn't need movies. I think he needs like full episodes to come back. Especially in like mainstream Star Wars fans' minds. He needs like episodes to come back. So here's what I think will happen. Now that the movies are technically done, I know there might be more movies in the future and all that stuff, whatever. Let's just pretend that that's not happening right now. We're just talking about TV shows.
Yeah.
Darth Maul, I don't expect to show up in Mandalorian, especially not this season.
Wait, you were saying that he's brought back, but he should be dead, though.
Well, we don't know.
But what? No, because in Rebels, you haven't seen Rebels, right?
Actually, I haven't seen Rebels. You're right, but there's been confirmation of Darth Maul for the Obi-Wan show, or at least I shouldn't say confirmations. There's been speculation for Darth Maul for the Obi-Wan TV show, right?
I see. So well, I think because Kenobi's it's going to take place over a period of time. It's not going to be just one time period. You know what I mean?
Okay, good, because that actually brings more to my theory here. I think Darth Maul is going to play a big part in the Kenobi show. I think Darth Maul is actually going to play the main villain in the Kenobi show. And you're right, I haven't seen the Rebels part, so I don't know about the full death there or anything. But I have a feeling they're either going to retcon it or find a way to keep Darth Maul again alive to fight Kenobi. I feel like we're actually going to have Ewan McGregor versus Darth Maul. It's going to be played by Ray Park as well, I think. So that way we get like original Ewan McGregor versus original Darth Maul.
Whoa.
And again, because exactly, that reaction right there, that's what they want from the fans, and they can do it since they're bringing back the actors. So I think Ewan McGregor and Darth Maul are going to have like a feud going on in the Kenobi show. What's going to happen though is I think it's going to bleed into Mandalorian. Now that you told me Kenobi spans over time, though, I think Darth Maul.
I don't know for sure, but I thought that's what it is.
Well, I think Darth Maul is going to bleed a little bit into Mandalorian some way, shape, or form, and we may be able to make it so that whatever this leads to, Mandalorian, Kenobi, it leads to a TV show of a different character, don't know who, that takes place after Rise of Skywalker. There'll be a TV show that takes place after Rise of Skywalker where it ends, and it's the final ending of all of this stuff. The accumulation of all of this stuff we've learned from Mandalorian, all the stuff we'll learn in the Kenobi show, all the stuff we learned from Clone Wars, mixed with all the movie stuff, and it'll end in that show. And I think a show is going to end Star Wars instead of Rise of Skywalker. And that's my like grand scheme theory thing that I thought of recently. And I was like, it has the potential to end the whole thing on a TV show now after we've learned all this stuff.
Oh,
and
boy.
I don't know if it's going to end with Darth Maul, but I think he's going to play a big part in it still.
Okay, I mean, it would be nice, like from what we saw. Okay, so was he in Clone Wars? I think he must have been in Clone Wars and yeah, that's right. He was in Clone Wars and Rebels. Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I think he was in both. But anyway, so having him in both, he's
definitely in Clone Wars. He plays a huge part in Clone Wars.
Yeah. Because I was thinking back to like what I remember of him in Rebels. So, it's kind of like what they did with Anakin. This is supposed to be a Mandalorian episode, but we're kind of talking about All-Stars.
We talked mostly about what we could with Mandalorian, but now we're just speculating because we want more.
That's okay. That's fine. So, okay, what they did with Anakin with Clone Wars was like so much better than what they did with him in the movies.
For sure.
Because in the movies there was such a jump from him as like young Anakin to all of a sudden episode 2 where he is just like teen angst Anakin. And then episode 3, he is like raging hormone like adult angst.
Yeah, they gave him time to breathe, and it was way better.
And it was just so like there are a lot of things that we kind of, at least I needed more from in terms of his character. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a lot of that in a good way in Clone Wars because
for sure.
Like every episode, just about every episode, we see a bit of Anakin's character, like Anakin, Obi-Wan. The clones, even like Count Dooku, like getting to know him a bit more was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So like, anyway, so what we get with them, where the heck was I going with this? what were we just talking about?
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, yeah. So with Darth Maul, like we barely saw him. We saw him in like a portion of episode 1, but then the amount that we get from him in Clone Wars, it's kind of like, it's almost like refreshing because it shows that he wasn't just some sort of like random like apprentice who didn't have a mind of his own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wasn't just under control this whole time. He wasn't just like a shadow. He wasn't just like inconsequential. Like
right.
he played a bigger part in the show, in the Clone Wars show. We just didn't get to see it unless you watched that show.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we get to see him actually go through like several rise and falls.
Yeah, huge arc for him, like crazy arc with his brother and everything, and then pretty much not being a Sith anymore, doing his own thing. Well, still being Sith, sorry, but not being on the dark side, like doing his own thing, kind of a middle side where he just wanted to forge his own way. It's very interesting stuff. Very Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, which is fun. So it creates this like extra, I don't know, side anti-hero kind of thing.
Yeah, or at least somebody else that like there is kind of a reason to get invested in. Like he definitely had a reason. And like growing up, I always like, I think because of how Obi-Wan was portrayed in episode 4. So like just going back to how I felt as a kid after watching episode 4, 5, 6 was that Obi-Wan to me was almost like the Yoda, because
for sure.
he's the first Jedi who trains another person. He's the first Jedi that we see is somebody that is old and wise and has experienced everything. So for me, he's kind of like, he's just like that like epitomal, is that how you would say that? Epitomal, like the epitome of mentor,
right?
Kind of character. So like having him be in that position from those movies, like I remember thinking like, oh man, like it's so cool thinking about him in this way. I'm just totally losing my track again. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I like really what I'm just trying to say is like we have moments to really get invested in characters, but we're almost kind of like we're robbed of those moments just because like the movies are trying to pack so many things and so many people into one time, like one kind of like elongated moment.
Yeah,
you know, and the TV shows, like you're saying, if they really could do that over like a longer span of time and get to the point where it actually becomes the thing that closes the whole universe, like the Star Wars universe, I think that could be very impactful, because then we will in that show get a chance to gain so much more to like and understand about a lot more characters that we just didn't get a chance to.
It'd be a much better payoff, I think, than the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So two things I'll say. Last one I'll say here on this part of the whole Darth Maul thing is really, if you look at it, how many people watch Rebels and how many people watch Clone Wars and how many people watch the movies, right? Yeah. So I have a feeling that just because he may be gone in Rebels, let's just say that not mainstream audiences saw that, and then the Rebels fans alone kind of saw that. And I happen to be a mainstream fan plus a Clone Wars fan, right? So I also missed it. But so I have a feeling that means Disney's like, okay, well, there's a huge market here of people that did not even see Darth Maul at all. Then there's another market of people here that only saw Darth Maul in Clone Wars. So that's a massive portion of people that they're like, all right, if we just bring Darth Maul back into the Kenobi movie, barely explain why, but bring him back in, there's a massive amount of people that are just going to completely eat that up and think it's amazing, right? And then there's a small portion of people that are going to care. So I have a feeling that they're going to go that route. And that's my ending on that. But the one thing I'll say to bring this all back is, speaking of the TV show for Mandalorian and connecting it to the films and all that, and some interesting things happening. In the very first episode, they connected it to Boba Fett, which I thought was really crazy. I did not expect to see an early cameo of Boba Fett, but what did you think when you saw the actor for Boba Fett?
Oh, I was like, I kind of flipped out a little bit. I was like, what? I'm like, whoa.
I know.
Yeah.
I was telling Ash, I was like, it's crazy. I was like, he played like the father, Jango. I was like, and then also eventually ended up playing the son, Boba. Like, it's just nuts. Like, oh, I was so happy to see it, and it was exciting. They mentioned the Sarlacc earlier on too, so I was like, man, like, I don't know, they just kind of mentioned that there was a Sarlacc pet involved in general, so I just thought that was kind of cool. Plus, what's his name was wearing the armor, so
Yeah, there was a nice build up to actually like getting to see him, because
Yeah.
it wasn't just the Sarlacc, but like also talking about retrieving his armor.
Yeah,
And
a lot of a
it's-
tease there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it's a question that a lot of people have been asking since before the Mandalorian even started. Like,
Yeah.
is the Mandalorian Boba Fett?
Yeah.
If not, when are we going to see Boba Fett? Are we going to see Boba Fett? Like,
Do you think Boba Fett's going to play a large role in Mando's story, or do you think he's going to be a side-ish thing for a bit?
I would find it kind of weird if they, so that the way that they showed him in the end of that episode, it was episode 2, right? When they,
Oh, I
at
thought it
the
was
end-
episode 1. That was the very first episode.
okay, maybe it was 1 then. So the end of the episode, like in the way that they showed him, to me it seems like they're trying to show that he has a bigger role.
Yeah, it's alluding
Like,
to something. It's a tease.
It wouldn't make sense to me if he showed up at the end just for him to have like a very small part sometime later on. You know what I mean?
I
So
could
I'm-
see him possibly being a side character. I think he might actually be like a side hero at some point that's alongside Mando in a lot of the journey.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually trying to remember, is Jango Fett actually Mandalorian? Like by blood?
Boba?
Like he... Sorry.
Boba.
Well, no, I mean, but Jango... Well, 'cause
Oh,
Boba
yeah,
is
sorry.
the clone, right?
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
I kind
We
of
don't really know, I think.
Jango Fett origin planet.
I also like the fact that when we see the other Mandalorians, how they mention that there's 2 different types of Mandalorians. I really like, for someone like me who doesn't totally understand the lore of Star Wars, I really enjoyed the part where they kind of broke down that there's like these children that have like a messed up version of the Mandalorian creed, like Mando himself, and then
Yeah.
there's like the other Mandalorians from Clone Wars that we know a lot better, that are kind of more
Yeah.
like the classical Renaissance version of Mandalorians, right? So
Yeah,
it's
who
very
take off their
interesting to see.
helmets.
Yeah, there's like a cultist version and then like Renaissance version is how I see it.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see if we're gonna get a little bit more development from that, because
Me too.
because the Mando, they call him just the Mando, or no, that's
Mando.
just what Carl Weathers calls him, right?
Yeah,
He just calls him
Mando.
Mando. So
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, because
I love
he's-
how he just is Carl Weathers in Mandalorian.
Yeah,
He's so
yeah.
good.
So he's just like he's very set in his learned Mandalorian ways, which he kind of just learned, or maybe he doesn't accept it yet, is not what true Mandalorians do, or not how they live, right?
Yeah.
Based on what Bo-Katan was telling him.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know how much more of that we're going to see, and if we're gonna see that sooner than later, or if that's something that would show up like kind of way later, if he's going to be the kind of person, because like, you know, we've seen his face once.
Yeah.
Not that we need to keep seeing it, but I mean, like they're really playing up this whole like keeping his identity somewhat hidden, even though the audience knows who he is now and what his face looks like. And it's only the IG robot, I think, that saw his face
Yeah.
before, like, they were trying to escape from Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering like how much they're gonna keep working on that aspect of him kind of like just being almost like one with his Beskar armor, which in turn kind of means him being one with what he thinks of is the way, like his
This is the way.
Mandalorian way. Yeah.
I will be honest though. I hope he doesn't take off that helmet anymore. I want the helmet to stay on for the rest of the show, unless they do it in a way where like you're not looking at his face. I like the idea of not having an identity to the main character.
Yeah.
Just I don't know what it is, but it makes me connect with him better when I can put myself in his position easier without seeing his face, I guess.
I think that's a good point too. Yeah, because when the moment that you have a face, that you're starting to almost like adapt that to
You
other
humanize
imagery.
him, right? So
Yeah.
No, it's better with him with the helmet on. It's what made Jango Fett so cool, and Boba Fett as well.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see if he. I think I'm with you. Like I'd rather him keep the helmet on longer. So I did quickly look it up. Jango Fett claimed to have been born on a Mandalorian world. So I guess maybe he is Mandalorian, but yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's about all we got to say about Mandalorian for the time being. We'll find out more. We're going to make another episode after these next 4 come out, and we'll see where the show goes. But I have high hopes. I think it's going to be a really cool season.
High hopes.
I've got high
hopes.
hopes.
That's all.
Okay. Thanks. Anth0z, where can the audience find you?
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Anth0z1. That's at ANTH0Z1.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at Mattbrush Gaming on Twitter and Parler now. I'm also available on YouTube at Mattbrush Gaming, where I put this podcast in video format for your eyeballs. But if you want to listen to this podcast with your earballs, go to any of your favorite podcasting platforms, and you can find us on there at the Scumm Bar Podcast. If you want to send us an email, go to thescummbarpodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email, let us know what you think about the show, and we may or may not read it on air.
Ooh.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the podcast, give us a like or a subscribe, or just let us know what we're doing or how we're doing. Let us know how we're doing, not what we're doing. We know what we're doing, but we don't know how. So,
Well, you can tell us why we're doing.
oh, and where.
Why is Gamora?
Anyways, Anth0z, tell the people out.
Why is Gamora?
Great. All right, that's a good one.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.